You are now listening to the podcast for geeks and the stuff they love, where each week we'll talk about everything from anime to movies, games, and prop collecting with the people who create and love it. I'm Jeromy.
I'm Vinz.
I'm James.
And this is your Geek Fix.
I didn't even keep counting. Is it really recording?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
5, 4.
Okay, Google, self-destruct.
Yeah, that's not. It's hey Google, isn't it? Hey Google. Turn.
Okay,
I
we said
think
okay,
okay,
Google.
yeah, okay, what's
Hey,
it?
hey Google, Rickroll me. Alexa, play something.
It's a
yeah,
Scott
we're
Never
Lister
gonna
talking-
give you up.
Yeah, I'm never going to give you up. So naturally, today we're talking a little bit about home automation and some of the different things that provides. I will admit, my house is pretty fully. I never thought I'd give into this because, admittedly, it is a bit of a security risk. Not to mention, there's some things that kind of can get annoying in relation to it, which we can kind of get into a little bit today. But yeah, whether you have, in my case, right now on my phone. I can also get on my phone and I can ask Alexa what is inside my fridge, and she will tell me. She will, and what's also going bad and things like that. Oh yeah, because I've got a Samsung fridge upstairs that also has things on it. Right. I can also check I can answer my doorbell with it, and even when I'm not available to answer the doorbell, you can hear my voice answer, and it will give different prompts based on what the person does next. My lights
Get
can
off
turn
my lawn.
on and off. Yeah. Sound of shotguns and things. And then I also can change the temperature inside my house automatically while I'm driving home from work. I can, because I also have Alexa in my car. I can ask Alexa to change the temperature inside the house or to turn on the lights outside. I can things like that. The thing that I found that to kind of open up with that this has done to me is there's a psychological component to it where I've gotten so used to it. There has been times at work where I want to say, where I wanted to turn on the lights or something like that. It's made me a little bit lazy. I've noticed, or when I go and stay at a hotel or something, that I'll I've got to use my remote for my TV or whatever it might be. Like it is a little bit of an adjustment, but at the same time, there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do with home automation. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, including, now, do both of you have some type of home automation of one type or another?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not yet.
What's your setup, Vinz?
Well, ever since my son was born, or just before, I thought, it would be helpful if we could just use voice activation for lights. And also set some, how do you say it, like scenes. So what we did is, especially with our bedroom, our son's bedroom, and the in between hallway.
Play Barry White, and the lights go down. And
Well, no, it was. We say it's
wrong room.
Yeah. No, but it would say for at nappy time, for example, and then it would dim the lights in the hallway and in the room, so we could pick up our kid and change the diapers in the middle of the night without getting blasted with full lights.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of snuck in there, but also putting on music via Spotify, stuff like that. And I tend to get the Google stuff for cheap because also the cheap lights, and of course there are some security risks with those lights. But the cheap lights work really well. And for me that's enough to work with.
The only issue I've had, and tell me if this is an issue, I know this is one of the big complaints that some people have out there, is if there's something that happens, somebody comes into the room and makes the mistake of switching on and off the light on the switch. That it can suddenly your lights become either unpaired or you have to do like all these different things. Suddenly, they're blinking. It's like, oh my gosh, now I got to reset that. Things like that. Almost need a different setup for the wall, but then you run into the problem with the power. If your Wi-Fi goes down, where you'd have to also have some way to still turn it on and off. Yeah.
And sometimes when you say hey G in my case. Turn on the lights or specific names for lights, and they say, "Oh, I'm looking for restaurants in the neighborhood near you." And like, no,
right.
I just want to
That's not what I'm asking for.
Toilet.
Right. play. Yeah, it starts playing some other song.
Play
I've got
Sex.
my car is set up for Alexa and things, but every now and then I don't know what the situation is. For some reason, it'll automatically ask you, "What was it you want me to play?" And if you tell it something at that point, no matter what you say to it that you're wanting it to play, it will play some other things. Like, play Abroad in Japan, playing Lost in Japan, playing Debbie Reynolds doing such and such. That's like close to what I said. Yeah.
Playing grindcore heavy metal at full volume.
I'm now opening your garage and turning. It's like, no, don't do that. Yeah. That's the
Throwing out
issue.
your fridge.
It is phone controlled. It is controlled by other devices usually, technically, that it's doing all that thought process. But yeah, that's cool. James, you're our automation. You're kind of the internet / connection person specialist.
Change.
So how are you planning on setting up something and making it more secure?
I'm still thoroughly investigating the options that I have for installing like home automation systems, because I at the moment I don't have my own place. I'm like renting out. So rather than redoing all of the installations here, obviously, because if in a year or two I decide to move out, it's just going to be putting all that money in for absolutely no reason. So I asked my boss at the company that I work at what system he has installed, because he's recently just bought a new place. And he was telling me about this system where he had to do like exactly that, just taking out all of the breakers inside of like the wall panels. He had to remove and like install a more intelligent system so that it could all be linked to his phone, so he could by either using Alexa to then talk to the system in question. I turn on and off the lights or prepare the heating in certain rooms or whatever. But seeing as I can't do any of that, or I don't want to do any of that, I've been looking into different options. So one of the ones that he mentioned is a company called Fibaro. F-I-B-A-R-O.
Spell that out. Spell it.
Yeah, Fibaro.
Okay.
Which is a company which have a wide selection of different options. So they have loads and loads of different sensors. So it could just be a normal on-off switch. It could be a wall plug. It could be a flood sensor. It could be a smoke detector. It could be whatever. And you just install these devices all across your home. And all of these devices, the way that this specific product worked is that they have to connect to a home center. And this home center is the one that will actually be connected to the internet and then to your phone and so on and so forth. So the actual devices don't have their own internal protocol.
So basically, it's a control box almost that's doing all the decision making, and then it's connecting to the internet versus something where it's just using the local Wi-Fi to intercommunicate between devices. Okay, I got you. Okay.
So that was one of the options, which I am looking into at the moment, because they have quite a few sensors and things which I find quite interesting. Although the other option that I'm looking into are just, for example, specifically for wall plugs, to be able to turn them on and off, and especially program them so that when you walk into the house, the lights or the lamps, for example, start to turn automatically. I'm looking into devices like the TP-Link TAPO, I think is what it's called, or the LAPO.
I'm familiar with that one. Yeah.
Or just devices similar to that, so that you can, with any normal smart link app, just connect to each and every device, set them up, and then you go. But I say I'm still trying to decide what I want to go with at the moment, because I don't have, and I've never had any Alexa or Siri or any similar voice automation service, just because I don't like them.
I gotcha.
For reasons that you were saying, that they're still, the voice detection thing is still needing to go a bit further, but I just also don't like the idea of having a device constantly listening to what you're saying.
Yep, and it is. She used to actually be very open about it when you would ask her. Let's see what she says. Used to be when you would ask.
How much of my conversation have you been listening to?
Yeah, something along those lines, are you recording all my conversations?
I'm designed to protect your privacy, so I record audio only after your device detects the wake word or if the action button is pushed.
Now, but how could that be? Like how can it recognize a wake word if it's not recording or hearing me at the time of the wake word?
Yeah,
Buffers,
You know what I mean?
buffers.
that's
Yeah.
very specific speech saying that they'll only record you after doing that.
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
have
that's
to be
true.
constantly
Yeah.
listening.
They're not recording. I think what's funny is this is the downside to development across the line. No matter what you have, whatever you're talking about, including YouTube itself and things, is I feel like the early days of Alexa was actually better than it is now. Same thing. I could say the same thing about my Sony AI stuff, Google. All of those. Well, maybe Google's gotten better in some things, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that seem like they were really, I was getting them fine-tuned. They would do exactly what I asked. And I think as they've had to open up for more and more devices, the downside is you're not talking, everyone doesn't have the same device or the same things connected. And I think that as they have to kind of keep broad on that, it ends up getting more and more problematic. And so I feel like it's almost gotten worse. I don't feel like it's something where as time goes by and as they kind of fine tune it better, it'll get better. I think as time goes by and more devices are out there, and it's not just their devices, that it's going to get where it's having more and more errors. Or you wake up one day after there was an issue 2 years ago where Alexa for 24 hours at the same time that YouTube had an issue that you might remember, in which they lost everything for 24 hours, went down.
Yeah,
it's like
that was
did not come back well. yeah. And so when you consider that's one of the biggest things to this is like the difference between my lights when I don't have home automation or my fridge or anything you think of, the heater, whatever, beforehand is that it's just, no matter what, as long as I've got power, I can control it and it'll work fine. But if anything happens with my Wi-Fi or anything happens with the power things, then, I don't have a switch that just lets me switch it over to being able to control it like a plane that's going down.
Battlestar Galactica mode.
Yeah. Yeah. What I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. That's, I think it's going to get, I guess I forgot. And Facebook, technically has their home automation stuff too. I keep forgetting that they even try to do that. But,
I didn't know that.
On the flip side, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like if you're in an apartment, some of the things that would safeguard where you could just, in this room that I'm in right now, this is the only one that I can't say things like Alexa, turn off the lights or something like that. But it does have, I do have it connected to, it has the switch itself has a connection to the Wi-Fi. So I can actually turn it on and off from there.
Okay.
It's not a standard switch either. So it has a roller on it. So that means that when it turns off, I can still roll it up. And then it also has a remote control over here. So I can turn up and down the light because I have a home theater over here. So you can kind of dim the lights and whatever. So in this room, it's a little more, fancy, but at the same time, I couldn't do that if this wasn't my place. I don't know though. Do you feel like if without your landlord getting upset about it, like you could just swap out then just swap it back when you leave?
The lights that I have are just the smart stuff is in the bulb
right, you
itself.
just stick it in. Yeah. That's what I've got too. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I just bought a Google, was it Nest Mini or whatever?
Yes,
for like
Nest.
$30 at a discount some time ago. And started shouting at it.
Yeah.
But we have like this really big discount store called the Action, which is like cheap stuff. And I think that may be different where you are located, but in the Netherlands, or at least in the European Union, you have the GDPR laws and everything with the privacy and the fact that you're a bit more protected than in other countries. Are the Action people that purchased those or rebranded those, they were called Tuya Smart Wear stuff from China. They basically got audited, or at least got a slap on the fingers or whatever, saying, okay, well, don't make sure that nothing leaks out privacy-wise from that stuff. So they had to, I believe, reflash or at least guarantee that all the stuff you buy there may be made in China, but they have to guarantee from the Dutch
firmware has to be reflashed. Gotcha.
Yeah. And if you're really, well, I'm not saying if you're really paranoid, but if you're really, concerned with your privacy, there's, I believe it's called Tasmoda firmware that you can upload on those things, so you can reflash them with an open source, more secure, or at least more private firmware that allows you to hook it up to Google still, but bypass any servers or any cloud stuff that you would like. So because I used to rent a lot as well. This is my first house I actually own. So all the smart stuff was just smart light bulbs, stuff like, as you said, smart plugs that you could use. That's basically all the stuff I do. Because we had a new, new power plan or whatever, we got a free Google thermostat that we can use now. So that was part of the ecosystem, and then all these really cheap. They're like $4 or $5 a bulb or whatever at this place I buy them from.
Wow.
And they're
not expensive here either. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah. So for me it was like fine. I mean, if some hacker wants to blink lights in my house, then
right.
Okay. Of course, I know that you can use it as a beachfront beachhead onto your network and do some more nefarious stuff with it. And I totally understand that. But
you have probably a million other things in your house that technically can be used as a backdoor too.
It's much more dangerous stuff in my house than just lights at the moment.
Yeah.
So if R2D2 ever decides to run away, then...
Run away or turn destructive.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the Dalek firmware upgraded.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, because I was going to say that I have a coworker at work who is also a little bit paranoid about this sort of stuff. So he invented or has designed his own home automation thing. So he would get devices, which I don't know if he purchased somewhere that flash firmware, as you were saying, or if he tried designing that. I don't really know. But the actual software that he uses, rather than using Google or Alexa or whatever, he's like designed or programmed his own like managing software.
And there's good stuff out there, like Home Assistant, for example. You can run from a Raspberry Pi or from your local NAS. A friend of mine actually has a really cool thing he designed. I asked him a while back, but I'm lazy and I'm also pretty, I forget things. But what he did was he designed a circuit that he could plug in his washing machine into. And whenever there was a load on that circuit, it would say, the washing machine's done. You can get your laundry out. And he would get a ping on his phone saying, "Hey, your laundry's ready. You can take out the washing."
You just connect to the indicator so the washing machine that at the end of its load or when it would go to turn itself off. Yeah,
there's a certain peak value that you can look for in the power draw that would signify that it's done. And he found a way to put a notification on that so that whenever his washing machine was done, he would get a little ping saying, "Hey, take out the laundry."
But then going back to the being forgetful thing, you can get that ping and then forgot you've received it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I haven't installed it yet.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That'd be cool though. We looked at doing there's several mirrors back when they actually sold, but there used to be a mirror that you could actually buy, and on one side of the mirror it would show you the smart mirrors. And now I think they're more used for workouts and stuff. It's more where I've seen the technology almost has kind of a Pepper's Ghost effect on it. But there's a lot of kits out there and a lot of things that are kind of pre-programmed. All you have to have is the Raspberry Pi, have a certain size monitor, and then the one-way mirror, or whatever we call it, two-way mirror. What is it? I should know. We use them for training in my field, but at the same time, then it allows you to talk to it. And it ties into the Alexa group and will do whatever it is that you want it to do. So it also allows you to home automate, but then shows you the weather and things on one side and tells you different things or plays videos and things. There's a lot of cool just DIY things that you could just do from home. And I think that's kind of cool. But like, there goes my camera for some reason. there's like Vinz said, I think there's the upside to these bulbs. Something in I know in the U.S. You tell me if it's true out where you are. Here in the U.S., if you buy LED lights and they have the energy saving mark on them, that you can write that off on your taxes, or you can also apply for coupons to allow you to just go get them for free, which is kind of cool. So you can do that sort of thing. Actually, you can do that also with the thermostat, things like that. As long as it shows that it's energy saving, it gets counted toward those things. So you can get things pretty darn cheap. The bulbs that I got, and I've had to replace some of these bulbs. Some of them too, when they become unpaired, I couldn't repair them for some crazy reason. And then I end up sending them to another room in the house. But
it's ironic because they're pair bulbs.
Yeah. Well, they're fine. But yeah, you plug them in, they're flashing, and you're like, I'm trying to repair it, and all it does is just flashes all the time. But there's also cameras I've seen more recently that all that they use is that, you just screw them into the light bulb, socket, and the camera's fully, it can move around. You can look at, your front door. So
I didn't know
those on the outside. You
can screw into the light bulb.
Yeah. That's what I want to. I want to get one of those for our backyard.
Isn't that how Watergate happened?
Yeah, it picks up everything. Yep. And then you get a discount from the government. So there you go. Yeah, it's all good.
You get impeached.
But, yeah.
The price you have to pay.
Yeah.
That's right. Plus, it's always listening to you. But I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that I think you can do. I'd be interested to see. I have actually received a lot of messages from people saying, well, I'm planning on doing this with my computer, for example. A lot of people want to do some kind of automated systems for their computer. There's a lot of ways for you to be able to use it elsewhere and things, but being able to have it control things in your house or to do things, making your home literally kind of its own entity is fine. But what are the repercussions? What's going to happen? Are we talking about a Terminator event? I don't know. If you've enjoyed this podcast and want more, stay tuned for that. Also, check out our channel and join the community on YouTube that goes by the same name, Your Geek Fix. Be sure to check out Vinz on Twitter at MassiveDMG_ and on his YouTube channel, MassiveDMG. Check out James at Mr. Malto4 on Instagram and on the Replica Prop Forum. We also want to hear from you, so be sure to send your stories, questions, and other projects to yourgeekfix@gmail.com. In the meantime, this has been Your Geek Fix.